How did you get into teaching?
Well, when I left university, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So at the time, I was working in a tourist shop on the Royal Mile in Edinburgh, selling tartan dolls and plastic tubes
to tourists.
And then that was, well, it was seasonal. When that kind of finished about September, October, I then got a job working in Curry's, the electrical shop. And I was the worst salesperson in the world.
Why were you the worst salesperson?
Because I wasn't pushy enough. So if anybody said no, then I just said, yeah, that's fine. So because I got on really well with my boss, who was the manager of the shop, he said, listen, you're obviously not cut out for this, but we do need someone to do the merchandising and the sort of the window dressing. Do you want to do that? So I said, yeah, fine. So that's what I did. So I just had to go in black clothes and put flags and strips and things on washing machines and fridge freezers. And
so then from there, is that where you decided you might try teaching?
Well, no, it was a case of, right, what do I want to do? Oh, I fancy going abroad for a while. So in my summer holidays, the year after university, I did a TEFL course at the University of Canterbury.
But that was a means to travel, not necessarily a career?
No, it was, I don't know what I want to do, so I fancy going abroad for a while. So after I'd done the course, I still had my student loan and stuff to pay off. So it wasn't until the following summer that I actually came to Spain. So what I did in the meantime, I started sending off CVs to different places in Madrid and got the offer of a job, which had like a 2-week sort of training course before it as well. So that's where I started off.
And are you from Edinburgh originally?
No, I'm from Fife, from a place called Cooper. But I was born in St Andrews because that's where the maternity hospital is.
Okay.
So, but lived until I went to Edinburgh. Lived in Cooper for 18 years.
And how did you come to be in Spain? What was it?
I think because I'd had family holidays in Spain, and that was kind of, good memories of, Spain's great, didn't we have a brilliant time? And when I was in 6th year at school, because the way that it works in Scotland, you apply to university after you've done your Highers in 5th year. So I applied to university after 5th year, got a place at university after 5th year, but I didn't want to leave school. So they said to me, well, if you're going to stay on at school, you're going to actually have to pick some subjects to do. So I did things like O-grade biology, and then they said, oh, well, there was someone who'd come from another school. So one of the French teachers knew Spanish, so he was teaching this other girl Spanish. So he said, well, listen, why don't you do Spanish O-grade as well? So I did Spanish O-grade. So, I thought I knew a bit of the language before I came, but I didn't at all.
So how long have you been here in total?
I've been in Spain for 18 years. I'll be 19 in September.
And what's been the most difficult thing about making a life here?
Paperwork.
Bureaucracy?
Yeah, it still drives me crazy after all this time. I can't, it just, drives me crazy.
And what's the best thing?
Well, the weather, obviously, and just kind of like the lifestyle in general. I think I would find it kind of difficult to go back. I've got kind of very much into a routine of, I don't even like Spanish meal times and things, and being outside a lot more. Even though what I do really, really miss is having a garden. If I could have a garden, then I would be happy.
Would you consider moving out to the country?
Well, yeah, because at the moment I live, half an hour away from here. It takes me half an hour to get here in the car, so another 10 or 15 minutes more added onto the journey.
And you could be in a village around Valencia somewhere?
Exactly, yeah. But it's just not the moment to think about moving house.
What do you do on a day-to-day basis here? Can you sort of tell us about a typical day for you? Because what's your official title?
Assistant Director of Studies.
And what does that involve?
Well, on a day-to-day basis, it's kind of a bit like customer services, but for teachers. So basically to answer inquiries, be that face-to-face, emails, telephone calls, lots of things like that. And then on a month-to-month basis, something that takes up quite a lot of time is the payroll, contracts for all the teaching staff. And then throughout the term, sort of timetabling, the big sort of timetabling session at the beginning of October, having that in place. Organising level testing calendars, A lot of admin. A lot of admin.
Do you miss not being in the classroom?
Yes.
Do you get the chance to step in sometimes?
I have done a few substitutions, but I mean they've been kind
too
of
busy.
few and far between. But that's why I really like doing the the TQS observations, because it's nice to be back in the classroom and to actually see what people are doing.
Yeah, of course. And what advice would you give Spanish speakers who are trying to learn English?
To try and surround themselves with English, whether that be, just watching television in English. Because when I first came to Spain, even though I'd done Spanish O grade, which had been, 7 years previous to that, and I hadn't even gone near the language since, one of my flatmates had a Spanish girlfriend at the time, the first year I was here, and so of course she would sit and watch TV all the time in Spanish, and you would pick up on lots of things. And I remember one friend being surprised, I can still remember this conversation, because someone was saying, what does echar de menos mean? And I said, oh yeah, I know that, because it's a scene in, I think, in Erin Brockovich, Julia Roberts on the phone, and she was saying, echar de menos, and I was like, oh, I know what that is, so just picking up things like that.
So television, maybe a Spanish, an English girlfriend or an English boyfriend would help?
It always helps, yeah. And listen to the radio as well, listen to music, because if you hear a song that you like, then, you want to find out what they're saying as well. But I mean, back when I first came to Spain, obviously there wasn't the internet or anything, so I can still remember, like trying to write down the words of songs, and I've never really got into reading in Spanish.
Me neither.
I mean, newspapers is about as far as it goes, but I mean, I think that is the way to really get into a language.
Absolutely. And what do you do with your free time when you're not working?
Well, we've got a house up in Alcalá de la Selva, up in Teruel, so we go up there quite a lot. And
you've got a garden?
There we don't have a garden, but what we do, well, the whole area is kind of garden really. It's like countryside and cows walking past the window and things. Yeah, but what we do have is like a great big sort of balcony that's big enough for like chairs and tables and the barbecue and whatever. So it's nice, it's nice to have visitors up there as well. And when you're there, the great thing is it's so quiet that you can just close the shutters on the windows, you go to bed at night, and then the next morning it could be 9 o'clock in the morning, it could be 12 o'clock in the morning. You've got no idea, because there's no noise of traffic or anything. So,
sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
But what do you do to relax? Do you read? Do you have any hobbies?
I used to read an awful lot more, and now that I've got more and more into podcasts, I actually read a lot less. Because I got a Kindle about 1.5 years ago, and I thought I would use it a lot, and I haven't, because I used to always read before I went to bed at night, but now I always just listen to podcasts.
What podcasts do you listen to? The BBC?
I listen to the Women's Hour Radio 4. I listen to Frank Skinner, who has a Saturday morning radio programme.
I like him.
There's a Radio Scotland one as well, Scotland's Funny Bits, because sort of the best bits of the week.
And what makes you happy?
Relaxing. I like travelling, even if it's just going away for the weekend, even if it's not very very far away. I like sort of to get a bit of a change of scene. I like being with my friends and being with my family, especially with my nephews.
Are they in Scotland or are they here?
They're in Scotland. I've got two nephews. One who's 19, so he's a bit too cool to hang out with his auntie. But I've got another one who's 14.
Give them a few years. Are they in Fife?
Yeah. I've got another one who's 14, who's still, he phones me, sends me messages. Whenever I go back, we've always got to have a day where it's just the two of us.
So he's not at the cool age yet?
No, not yet.
Enjoy it while you can. In an ideal world, what would your life be like?
I would work 4 days a week.
Why 4?
Because then I would have a 3-day weekend. Because sometimes 2 days is just a bit too short. So I'd work 4 days a week. I'd live in a house with a garden. Yes. And I'd have a dog. A terrier.
A terrier?
A West Highland terrier. A white one.
They're the ones with the square face and the fluffy whiskers?
Yeah, exactly. Like the black and white whiskey bottles.
If you could change something about yourself, what would you change?
That I wouldn't need to sleep so much. I've always been the same since I was very, very young.
I need about 8 hours if I can't get by on 6 or 7. I get very ratty, short-tempered. I feel terrible.
I'm the same.
How many hours do you need?
Ideally, probably about nine and a
Really?
half. Yeah, I've always been the same, even when I was very, very young. If not, I do actually get like quite bad headaches, and I think I was born with bags under my eyes.
And if you had €6,000 to spend on yourself, what would you buy?
Shoes.
Really?
Yes.
That
In all honesty,
taken me by surprise.
it would be shoes.
To guess, how many pairs do you think you have
Oh,
at the
I really
moment?
don't know.
Put you on the spot now.
Lots. I've got them in 4 different places in my house, and I should be more organised, because I did have, about a month ago when a friend was coming over, there was a particular pair of shoes I wanted to wear, and in the end I couldn't, because I could only find one of them. So the other one is somewhere in the house, but I don't know where.
How can people find out about British Council English courses in Valencia?
Well, we've got the website, which is a Pan-Spain website, and hopefully will be getting better, or is getting better. There are improvements being made to it, and we will have a new version of the website. But all of the basic information is there.
Can they get to the British Council Valencia through the main website?
Yes, yeah, you just have to click on which centre they want information on. We've also got a Facebook page now as well, so there's information there.
What should people search for on Facebook?
Well,
British Council Valencia?
British Council Valencia without the. So British Council Valencia, not the British Council Valencia.
Okay. Can you tell us something about the British Council Language Club?
Well, this is something that we started new this year, and it's for students who are in levels 4 upwards, and it's on a Friday afternoon, and it's been really, really popular right from the very start. We've got an online booking system now called Bookeo, so our site is bookeo.com, Valencia. And on that page you can go in and you can book your place. We limit it to 12 places every Friday. And because of this online booking system, it automatically sends the person who makes the booking an email saying, would you like to review your booking? And all of the feedback that we've had about the Language Club has been really, really positive.
So this is a service that is no charge, but you have to be a British Council student
Exactly, yes,
to
you have to be a
take
British
part.
Council student.
And what can they expect? What can students expect when they go along?
Well, because it is done by different levels, Michelle has been the teacher who's been running it this year, and she's been fantastic. Because I say all of the reviews have been
Because she used to do conversation classes?
Exactly, yeah. So that's the sort of idea, like a conversation club sort of thing. So because it's been so popular, what we're going to do is we're actually going to run one throughout the whole academic year. Yeah. But the only problem is we might have to limit the number of times that students can come, because obviously there are only 12 places and 10 weeks per term.
So at the moment it's running once a week, is that
once
on a Friday?
Week, on a Friday afternoon.
And maybe that people should pay attention to see if next year you expand that and there'll be more available.
Yeah. Oh yes, and a social programme as well. We're going to launch...
Tell us about the social programme.
Yes, we're going to launch a social programme. So this was something we were talking about last week at our sort of away day, about how we could use the centre more. So maybe on Friday evenings, our classes finish at 8 o'clock. So things that we could actually do in the centre, which could be, trivial pursuit type, pub quiz type activities. And also doing specific things. We thought about doing sort of a kind of speed dating type thing for Valentine's, Halloween, whatever. And also trips to the cinema as well, to talk about films afterwards. And also to promote the centre in general, what we're going to do are have kind of like open days, so kind of a try before you buy sort of thing, so people can come along, actually sit in a lesson, have a look at the centre.
It sounds very exciting. It sounds there's lots of things coming up during the summer and after the summer, and people should definitely go to the British Council Valencia website and see what's happening.
Yeah, and to the Facebook page where there's more sort of our cultural and external activities as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. who was the manager of the shop, he said, listen, you're obviously not cut out for this, but I don't know what I want to do, so I fancy going abroad for a while. So after I'd done yeah, it still drives me crazy after all this time.